All right, hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. Let me welcome you to another edition of Stock Market Mutterings. This will be for the 17th of August. Hope you guys are doing well. As always, if you need help with your personal trading, somewhere on the screen will appear a link. Feel free to click it. You can trade with us live every day that the market is open. As always, this is where I'll do my best to take a grope in the murkiness. I'll try to make some sense out of the stock market here for you guys and try to provide you with some quality trade setup. So here's what we'll start out with this week. We'll talk about the SPY here and the rest of the market because I think where we're sitting right now is a very pivotal moment. We saw, first of all, when this recovery, the Qs had made it back to an all-time high and actually exceeded that. During this whole time, we got great bounces in both the Dow and in the SPY as well, but they didn't make their way back to higher. And we all kind of thought there was going to be some sector rotation. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where money might be starting to move out of these Q stocks, out of these tech stocks, into some of these other names. We saw some stuff like gold rallying, banks rallying, so that was kind of a sign that maybe we're going to see it. But the SPY's been a little bit different here. It's actually very close to its all-time high. Looks very similar to what the NASDAQ looked like before it broke out and made some new all-time highs. And where we sat here, this week basically was just pretty choppy, in my opinion. You had one attempt really at just trying to press this thing lower. You had one aggressive sell day. Couple of washouts in between. We saw a few things like we saw intraday here on Friday or late in the day where you had these periods of selling, but nothing was really able to build momentum and continue. And the next day it was right back up and we're kind of just trading here sideways. So here's the way I look at it. I think, again, it really comes down to how Monday plays out. If this thing gets taken out, this upper area right here, I think you've got a really good opportunity to see this thing move through the highs right here and possibly go somewhere, I'd say, let's take a look here. Somewhere up to around 340, maybe even 350s. I would think if this thing could break out early in the week and hold that, we're probably going to see a run here on the SPY towards 350 before we see any meaningful correction. Now, because it's a stock market, anything can happen at any time. I just don't see anything coming back down to these levels here a little bit lower towards the 20 moving average. I just don't see that happening right now. I think the next move that you're going to see in this cycle is a press upward towards that 340, towards that 350. So I would be looking for that earlier on in the week. As far as these tech names, when you're looking at the Q here, not quite sure. I mean, you still, again, you haven't really pulled back. We've seen this thing play out over and over again where you've had these periods where there's been some selling in this market. There's been some attempts to press it down. There's been these areas where the bears have had control for a short period of time. But it just seems like no matter what happens, the market finds a way to continue to go higher. It continues to find a way to just melt its way higher. And as you're looking at all of these, regardless of how high they've been or how big this rally has been, they're still in a very tight consolidated area. So right now, I think at the beginning of the week, you've got the SPY lining up for 3,500s here on the futures, 350 on the SPY itself, and maybe there's a tad bit here more in the Qs. Now, a couple of stocks that I wanted to look at. I want to put first on the list here. How about we look at some Payc? Payc, yeah, you know me. This looks pretty good, guys. This is really, really good chart. I mean, this has a long period of consolidation. This is stretched out for well over a month now and really, really solidified this bottom area. You got a nice bounce there on Friday. The thing with this stock so far, though, is it's been a while since it's been able to put together quite a few solid days in a row. You've had these one-off bounces and then it does nothing. And these one-off bounces, then it kind of sells off. But you're right here at, this is just a really tight range. At some point, one of these are going to go. You're going to lose the lower here and you're going to start trading back down into some of these other supports, or you're going to break out. I think it's going to be the latter here. You're going to see this thing try to put something together and clear this area right here, these 307s, 308s, and start moving its way up into this area. And again, this is a pretty stout piece of resistance here. You've got a triple top right up there towards this area. So I would think that you're going to at least make an attempt right now to trade up to that. Now, I'm just looking at this right now as a day trade, but for you swing traders out there, this has got some pretty good risk to reward. You could trade it right here long, using a stop under that consolidated area, and then just target back to these highs. I think that's what you're going to see here this week, is it's going to try to press up towards those highs. For me, I'm just going to be looking at dips, intraday pullbacks like you see here in certain areas to just try to build a long position and see if you can really catch that move. I mean, you had a really big move on Thursday, but was unable to follow through there on Friday. We'll see how that sets up as the week starts. Now, also some of these former momentum stocks that we have just been trading in and out over and over. We'll start out here with Docu. Some of these have made some pretty nice pullbacks. You know, there's been a long time since these things have set up well. This could be a pretty good spot here for Docu. Again, I'm just talking about from a day trader's point of view. Maybe it's a swing trade here, I'm not sure, but I kind of like the way it just looks here. You got some nice support where it's just kind of settled right underneath the 20 moving average, just kind of curling right off here at the bottom. You've seen that pattern, it's done that before. Last time it had a pretty good rally here. Maybe we see something that sets up very similar, and maybe this thing can get back up here towards the high, so I'll be watching this. Really kind of confirmed the lows here as well on Friday. You had a few attacks down at the bottom here. This is a 5-minute chart up top here. You've had 3 shots where it got down into the lows, but each and every time it was held. Another one here I'm very interested in is Twilio. This is a good one here too. It's kind of pulled off from its recent highs, just recently come out of earnings and building a pretty good base. I talked about this one before and how solid this support area is where it sits. You got really big support just slightly underneath that. So I think as a risk to reward view here, it's pretty good. It's a really good looking stock. You got some nice sideways action. What I would like to see from this one, obviously, is for it to come up out of the consolidation, because it's been spending a lot more time at the lower part of the range rather than at the top part of the range. But I do think if you can get up outside of this, reclaim this 20 moving average, there's a good chance that you'll see something that will resemble more of a chart here. I'll draw it for you. Something that will resemble more of just kind of grinding its way back up. And these are the kind of charts that you guys want to look for, where you get this max alpha. We talked about it when I did the checkmark webinar, where you're getting these pullbacks that lean into support, and then they start working their way back up to where they came from. And I think that's something that you might see here, where this could come down in here, settle into this support area, and then start to work its way back. So I want to kind of watch this one here. And the last one that I'll put on here will be, let's go with WDay. I know I've talked about this one before. I've been sitting here waiting for this thing to just kind of amp itself up and come out of this range. But, you know, to be honest with you, I'm getting a little tired of waiting here. This thing is just kind of bouncing back and forth. But just like I was talking about Twilio, these former Momo stocks, some of them are going through a cycle here where they're pulling back into support and they're just making the sideways trading. And the beautiful thing about the sideways consolidated trading is it's not just going to stay there forever. At some point, it will either pick its direction. These are going to break out of that consolidation and start going higher, or they're going to lose that support eventually and start discovering lower prices on the way. I like this one much better if it breaks out above this area right here. It's already above both the 10 and 20 moving average. It's just sitting on the 20 moving average on the daily chart. So looks pretty good, but again, just like some of the ones I was talking about here earlier, you get these big one-off days here where it gets really, really aggressive, but it's yet to be able to just kind of continue on. But I'll be looking for this one to do so this week. So just kind of a quick view, guys. I think we're in this consolidated period, and it's really important how Monday plays out. I think if those areas get taken out early here on the SPY, we're going to go higher. You're going to see the futures at 3,500 before you see any meaningful correction. You're going to see SPY at 350. And there still could be a tiny little squeeze left here in these tech names. You could still get a chase. You could still get a little bit of movement. Even though this thing is up high and continuing to make all-time highs, it seems like once a week, there's still a little bit more room in here. So we're still leaning bullish until we see something where you can get a sell-off that sticks, or you can get something that can build momentum and you see aggressive volume, sell after sell, just kind of taking out the bids on the way down. Then maybe you'll change your mind. But until then, it is what it is. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, if you need help, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me by email at support@thelincolnlist.com, or click the link there that appears on the screen. Trade with me live each day. Until next time, take care and trade well.